Now, there's going to be a lot of information in this video, guys, for you to tackle. A lot of it you're really going to like and really enjoy. A lot of new weapons coming out. Some of them you're going to get access to for free. Huge data mine on patch 1.4. Also, on top of that, though, there's going to be stuff revealed in the live stream as well. That's going to be coming out March 6th, UTC -5 at 11. That's going to be the English live stream. There also is going to be, obviously, one in the CN region here. And this is another thing there. We also kind of have some good idea of what the next banner is going to be before it's officially revealed here, because this was the image posted up for the other live stream. Now you can see it's hidden behind my head. That's Gene, but you can see VENTI as well. So a lot of the times when they do these live streams, everyone's been expecting a VENTI Rerun banner, and one of the weapons coming out it looks like it's designed explicitly for VENTI. So he was the first ever on banner character. A lot of people missed out on him, and that is going to be a banner that we should be seeing relatively soon. That is not confirmed. Full disclosure there. We do not know that for certain, but that is going to be high probability of something that we are going to see. Now, for the long list of stuff that we have access to go over, let's get into that stuff. There's going to be a lot of stuff to go over. Let's tackle the new 4 or 5 weapons actually coming to us that we know about in the new data mine. Now, we don't know if they're all coming out 1.4. We know at least one of them is, and probably one of them is going to be on the banner and a weapon banner with the VENTI Rerun that we are very almost certain is coming out. So these are going to be the Windblume Ode, which is going to be a 4-star bow. It's going to be the Alley Flash, which is a 4-star sword. Catalyst called the Wine and Song. That's a 4-star catalyst. A 4-star bow called the Alley Hunter. And then Elegy for the End is the new 5-star bow. So 5 new weapons here. Let's tackle the Catalyst one for you guys here first. This is the Wine and Song. Unique little book here. I don't think it's going to be like a game-breaking book. I know. It has energy recharge on it. And then the unique effect here is basically it's going to help out your sprinting stamina consumption reduction here. So what it's going to do, hitting an opponent with a normal attack decreases the stamina consumption of sprint and alternate sprint by 14%. For 5 seconds. Additionally, using a sprint or alternate sprint increases your attack by 20%. That's rank 1 here. Rank 5 of this, 22% reduction in the stamina cost of sprinting, and then 40% attack increase for 5 seconds there. So this is going to be pretty good on characters who have alternate sprints that can work catalyst. There's not too many of them in the game right now. Mona is basically the one character that has like an alternate sprint that it needs to be reduced there. And this is something that's going to probably get better over time. Now, I was kind of sad that this wasn't like a sword that had this effect, but what can you do? Because Ayaka fans out there Ayaka has the alternate sprint very similar to Mona. More information on Ayaka in the future here. Not enough changes for me to want to cover it yet again, but just like Mona, she's got a thing where if you sprint next to an enemy and for a period of time under a certain condition, she's going to pop out and do some stuff there. So not the most exciting new weapon, the Wine and Song, but it is something that is kind of cool. Maybe if you want to like run out in the open world and just sprint farther, I guess it's a non-combat weapon there. So the next one I'll talk about here is the Alley Flash. Now this one is very interesting indeed. It has Elemental Mastery as the secondary stat, but this is a 4-star weapon. Now these stats may change, guys, right? This is just what they are right now, but it's your first peek at them. Check out these stats. Elemental Mastery 55. That is terrible, right? Elemental Mastery is like almost 200 on a 4-star weapon here. Look at the base attack of this weapon for a 4-star weapon. 660 base attack. That is insanely high. That is 660 attack is something that you will see on the highest tier, the highest sort of 5-star weapons of the archetype that have like the really high attack. I think the highest archetype is like 675, 678 attack for the highest attack base 5-star weapons in Genshin Impact, period. This is a 4-star weapon with 660 attack. And the special ability here is no slouch as well. Increases all damage that you do by X%. It starts out at 12% with refinement 1, 24% at refinement 5. Now, if you take damage though, it disables this effect for 5 seconds. So if you're an exceptionally good player, you're going to get that full uptime on that. We also will have to see, does taking damage with the shield on, does that prevent this effect from happening? Because you're not really taking damage, or health isn't taking the damage, the shield's taking the damage. How is the game coded for that with this sword? We don't know. But the one thing to take note of here is that it does have an incredibly high base attack. And it's kind of unique here because it doesn't really have a secondary stat, right? Elemental Mastery being low, you might not care that Elemental Mastery is low, but, you know, this sword doesn't have, you know, 22% crit rate, or it doesn't have, you know, 58, 60% crit damage, it doesn't have 40% attack. It just has really high base attack in this damage bonus here. This is gonna be very, very unique sword, all things said and done. And there, it also kind of reminds me of the Battle Pass weapon, the Claymore, the Serpent Spine, right? Where you don't want to take damage because you take more damage with the Serpent Spine, but it gives you that damage bonus up as long as you're not taking damage. You don't want to lose those Serpent Spine stacks. So this is a very cool sword. And the Alley Flash, I like it. I like it quite a bit. And Elemental Mastery isn't a totally dead stat, especially if you're doing something like Vaporize or Melt teams. So this is a very unique weapon here to look out there. On top of that too, this just came to me, having a very high base attack like this, you could even use this on something like Support Bennett, because Bennett, base attack is the only thing he really cares about. He doesn't care about taking damage and disabling the effect, doesn't care about the Elemental Mastery. He cares about that 660 base attack. So that is something cool for Bennett out there as well. So that's going to be a pretty cool weapon if these stats do not change. So let's get into the bows here for you guys. We'll start out with the Windblume Ode. Now this is going to be another weapon here. 4-star, also has Elemental Mastery as a secondary, and it's got 165. This is in line with a general weapon archetype that we know of in Genshin Impact, 510 base attack. The ability on it is after you use an elemental skill, you receive a boon from the Ancient Wish of Windblume, increasing your attack by 16% for 6 seconds. If you max it out, it goes up to 32% attack there. So this weapon here, I will say that I do not really like it all that much here. It's only 6 seconds long. It's based on using your elemental skill. This is something that was probably basically made for Venti here, the Windblume Ode, because his cooldown and his elemental skill is very low. You know, they think Elemental Mastery is really good with Swirl. Not so much. And then you get that 32% attack buff there. So Elemental Mastery, guys, to make the most out of it, yeah, you can use it in stuff like non-melt, non-vaporize comps. You can use it, you know, with you can use it with the good old overload. You can use it with Swirl. You can use it with Electrolyze. Those things really fall off in game. Elemental Mastery late game, guys, is usually only used and taken into consideration for big damage bonuses to Vaporize and Melt teams, and so not really all that crazy good there. Outside of that, right, you could swap out this Elemental Mastery if you're not using that, you're not using Vaporize and Melt, for just a weapon like any other bow that's got percent attack as its secondary stat here. So this one is kind of okay. I don't really like it, especially for anyone that's not using Vaporize and Melt. I don't think it's that good. You can just slot in any 4-star bow that's giving you crit chance or crit damage or attack percent instead. So Windblume Ode, a little bit lackluster for me there. Now we also have the Alley Hunter though, don't forget. So the Alley Hunter, will it be like the Alley Flash? Let's see. So it does have a pretty high base attack for a 4-star bow, 565, but it also does have 27.6% attack up. So it's not quite as crazy as the Alley Flash was with the base attack here, but it still is pretty nice there. And it does have an actual secondary stat. It doesn't have like 55 Elemental Mastery as a straight up dead stat like its sword brother. Now, the special ability here, when the character equipped with this weapon is in a party but not on the field, okay, so when they're in the back line, right, their damage is increased by 2% every second up to a max of 20%. When the character's on the field for more than 4 seconds, the debuff decreases by 4% per second until it reaches 0%. So if you want the max buff here, right, you have to wait 10 seconds. You have to be in the party back line for 10 seconds, and then you can come out. You have 4 seconds to use that full damage bonus, use your elemental skill, use your elemental burst, snapshot all that damage, get in there, right, do some Vaporize, Melt, all of that good stuff, and then you're going to start quickly losing that damage bonus, right? Because 4 seconds are going to pass, and then you're going to lose 4% per second, so it's going to go away twice as fast as you gained it. If you have this at Refinement Rank 5, you get 4% damage bonus per second up to a max of 40%, and then you start to lose it at 8% per second until it hits 0%. So it takes you 10 seconds to max out the buff and 5 seconds to lose the buff after those 4 seconds. So you have 4 seconds where you have the full uptime, and then it starts going down by double the amount you would gain every second. So you get 4 seconds till it's completely gone. So you really want to get everything in on those 4 seconds while you have that full buff. It's a pretty interesting weapon here. It does have a pretty nice base attack. If you guys can get your hands on this one, the Alley Hunter also gives you that 27.6% attack. Nothing super crazy there. Now, Elegy for the end. This is going to be the 5-star bow for you guys here. Okay. And it's going to have, it's going to be a doozy of an explanation. So please do bear with us. It does have 608 base attack here at level 90, which is pretty nice, and 55% energy recharge. So it's going to be one of them energy recharge support bows with a decent base attack. It doesn't have like crazy high. It's not the 675 archetype. It's the 608 archetype there. So one of the lower end ones, but nothing super terrible, especially compared to other weapons that you can have, but on the lower end for 5-star weapons. So here's the word spaghetti for this weapon. So refinement rank 1, a part of the millennial movement buff that wanders amidst the winds. It's got its own poetry going on. That's how you know it's made for VENTI. All right. You increase your elemental mastery by 60, and when your elemental skills or elemental bursts hit opponents, you gain a second buff, the Sigil of Remembrance. This can be triggered every 0.2 seconds and can be triggered even if said character is not on the field. This is why you know it's made for VENTI, because his elemental burst tick, 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 tick. So you can fire it off and leave, and you're going to be getting stacks of this Sigil of Remembrance buff. When you possess 4 Sigils of Remembrance, all of them are consumed, and nearby party members will obtain the Millennial Movement Farewell Song buff for 12 seconds. This thing is Call Me Ishmael, we're going to hunt Moby Dick, right? So you get the 12 seconds of the Millennial Movement Farewell Song buff, which increases elemental mastery by 100, attack by 20% as well. Once this effect is triggered, you will not gain Sigils of Remembrance for 20 seconds. So it's got a 20-second cooldown, basically. Of the many effects of Millennial Movement, buffs of the same type will not stack. So you can't get 2 Millennial Movement buffs. You can't get multiple Sigil of Remembrance from having multiple people have this weapon on. You can't get the Farewell Song buff for multiple people having this weapon on. Basically is what it's saying there. So if you're playing co-op or whatever, you're trying to beat it in 0.02 seconds like the Flash, right? You're racing against time. Don't use 2 of these weapons if you care that much. So what does this mean, though? Why is this really good? It's a very strong weapon here. So the Elemental Mastery, the first buff, the Millennial Movement buff, not really the craziest things. Help out your swirl damage, right? When you have it on someone like VENTI. But when your elemental skill, that's a 1-of on VENTI, or your elemental burst is hitting people, especially VENTI with the sucking them all in, tick, 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 tick. Remember, every 0.2 seconds this can proc. So you can get it to all 4 sigils in 0.8 seconds. That's very, very fast. And that's going to give elemental mastery to everyone nearby. So, you know, I would assume this is going to be your active character, because your character can be in the back line. They do not have to be active to get this, to get these sigils start stacking. You can VENTI alt and just immediately swap out. Right, and what do you use VENTI alt for? You use it for Viridescent set. Use it to swirl. You use it to reduce their elemental resistance. And a lot of the times in these comps, right, you launch your pyro attack on Diluc or Hu Tao or whatever's going on there. Klee. Hu Tao's a bad example, but you know, Klee, whoever, and then you swap in VENTI, boom, you swirl it, doing good stuff, and then you swap into, that's right, you use them for the support, you use them for the swirl, the collecting all the enemies together, swirl with Viridescent set to lower their elemental resistance here. And then on top of that, you can increase your vaporize damage or melt damage, because you're going to get 100 elemental mastery buff on your active character in 20% attack on top of that. So it's got like the Noblish Oblige 4-piece set built into this weapon here at refinement rank 1 and 100 elemental mastery. For you big whale boys out there, if you do get refinement rank 5 of this, it's like a very good support weapon. You get 120 elemental mastery here for the character using this. That's from the Millennial Movement buff. All right, and then once you have all those sigils stacked up, you're gonna get 12 seconds of 200 elemental mastery and 40% attack. 12 seconds is a very long time. This is like having 2 times Noblish Oblige buffs in your party, and like a fat stack Sucrose built for straight up elemental mastery. So if you have like Sucrose, VENTI for some reason in there, Diona, and then your damage dealer, you can Diona C6, 200 EM, R5 this bow, 200 EM or 100 EM from R1 on this bow, and then I'll have Sucrose give like another, you know, 200 EM, a little bit over that or a little bit under, depending on your gear there. You get like 500 to 600 EM elemental mastery, and then you just start vaporizing things left and right and melting things. I guess you can't vaporize in the team, but it would be melt, and that'd be pretty interesting to see what kind of just straight up one-time big hit number you could do with the Elegy for the end. Do I think this is going to power creep the game or anything? No, not really, but I think it's going to be a pretty interesting bow out there. It does give you the energy recharge. It definitely is built for someone like Venti, and it's a very nice supportive option here if you're not building like a DPS-oriented Venti at the end of the day. So Elegy for the end, very, 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 very cool stuff. But that's not all that we have access to for information. We're going to quickly go over what sort of events that we're going to be seeing here on the English live stream, as well as sort of the reward structure that we know of right now, in case you want your fantasical, in case you want your fantasies ruined. All right. So if you want to be going to Inazuma, getting a Yaka, all that cool stuff, that's not happening. That's not happening. Remember, when we started doing the festival with the Zhao Banner 1.3, there was this small little cutscene where they talked about a Mondstadt celebration. Guess what we're doing? We're going over the Mondstadt celebration, babies. That's where we're going here. So we're going to have a couple different things to do out there. I'm sure maybe you guys have seen that there's going to be an Oceanid event as a part of this with a new pet. That's something that's currently on the PTR. That's coming out right away with patch 1.4. We don't know, but that's floating around the internet as well. There's going to be some new consumables. There's going to be the ability for you to decrease your world level by however much you want for 24 hours here, and you can't go back up afterwards. So if you want to play with friends or something, this is going to be basically their band-aid solution for right now. They're changing the Abyss a little bit with the buffs, nothing to do with the rewards or anything, just like sort of the different buffs that are going to go on week by week basis. Now then we're going to get the Windblume Festival. If the Windblume Ode didn't really tell you that we're going into the Windblume Mondstadt stuff. Now the Windblume Ode is going to be one of the rewards that you guys are going to be getting for free from some of the events that you guys can do here, so keep that in mind as well. It's an okay weapon. Wasn't my favorite one, will never lie to you guys, but it's still going to be a thing. Now just like every other sort of festival slash event, time limit event thing that we have added to Genshin, it's not going to be super difficult, right? You're going to be probably running around talking to NPCs, doing some mini games, and that is precisely what we're going to be doing here, because it's a festival. There's going to be a lot of mini games. There's going to be acts 1, 2, 3, and 4. You guys will be doing traditional stuff, okay? Different mini games, a lot of different stuff. There's going to be some co-op involved in there if you want to as well. There's going to be something like shoot the balloons, right, called the flashy balloon. There's going to be some festival tour tickets that you gain access to. That's what you're going to be using to exchange for rewards in the event shop. So event shop's coming back, right? We're going to have access to the crown. If you want to crown your talent ability, max that out to level 10 or 13 if you have a constellation for it. That's going to be available for you as well. But let's get down into, right, we don't need to go over all the minute details of like how are the mini games look, all that other stuff. We can do that later. What are the rewards that we're looking for, all said and done, that we know of right now? Now we also know that we're going to be getting different rewards, but typical rewards that you would normally see in an event, right? So like talent books, Mora, Primo Gems, all this stuff. But how many Primo Gems are we looking for at the end of the event? So the Windblume Festival, the 3 mini games, collectively you do them all, that's 360 Primo Gems. Peculiar Wonderland, that's gonna be another 240 Primo Gems. Pure Water's Wish is another 360. Then you're gonna get the Marvelous Merchandise is coming back. If you do that, it's gonna be another 280 Primo Gems. Then 420 from Contending Tales. Then you're gonna have the Windblume Festival coming back again for the Mora rewards this time. 240,000 Mora there. Wonderland, 400,000 Mora. Event shop, you can buy up to 300k Mora. 180k from the Water's Wish, 210, excuse me, from the Tides part. Marvelous Merchandise is going to be there again for the Mora as well. And then you're also going to get 75 Heroes Wits for the event shop in the Contending Tides, as well as the Windblume Festival minigames on top of that. Now you're also going to get 1 Windblume Ode like we talked about earlier in the video. You're also going to get that 1 crown, so keep that in mind as well. You're also going to be able to get a little bit of Dust of Azoth, so you can help yourself transfuse from the different awakening materials to ascend your characters in Genshin Impact. I was going to say to awaken your characters, but that's a different game. That's a different gacha game. There's no awakening here. There's just ascending in Genshin Impact. So a lot of cool stuff here. Let me know what you thought about the Alley Hunter, the Alley Flash. I think the Alley Flash is really cool for a 4-star sword. It can be usable by basically anyone anyone's account, because Bennett's everywhere, and 660 attack on a 4-star weapon, that is a lot. On a 5-star weapon, that's a lot, right? That rivals like Aquilia Favonia. So keep your eye on that one. But until then, guys, if you want to see more stuff, Genshin Impact content related and others, check out the channel and do my darndest to get that Hu Tao guide out for you, the official one with math and all the stuff, because we did actually end up pulling her on the account. We were extremely lucky. So look forward to that, having a little bit of working order. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Put them smiling faces down in the comment section below. Okay?